Please welcome to the stage the fabulous David Yeabsley.
Future-proofing yourself is all about making yourself as employable as possible for the rest of your working careers. It's about developing your potential, your well-being, and being great value for money to your clients and customers. Yes, all at the same time. Now, I've got two friends with me today that I'd like to help me in delivering this talk. And the first one is I'd like you to say a big howdy to Woody. Howdy, Woody. Howdy, everyone. And I'd like you to say hi to Buzz. Hi. Now, I'd like you to cast your minds back to a wonderful children's animation video of the 90s called Toy Story. Woody was cast as the leading character, so he thought. He was the best friends and the go-to toy for a young lad called Andy. They were inseparable. They went on adventures together. They went to new destinations. They fought battles together. Life was exciting. Wherever Andy went, Woody would always be by his side. Now, you could describe Woody's characteristics as trustworthy, reliable, dependable, but his technical abilities were rather limited, and his vocabulary really wasn't much to shout about. Naturally, Andy had other toys, and they all knew their place. Woody was number one. He was their leader. He always took control in all of their games. These were happy, carefree times. Then suddenly, Woody's world fell apart. It was a hot summer's day, and Andy had a birthday party. And along came a new toy, Buzz Lightyear. Now, Andy had never seen anything like Buzz before. It was love at first sight. He had new concepts, new features, flashing lights and movable parts. He could take control of any situation with great self-esteem and reassurance. But there's one thing that Buzz could do. He could say, "To infinity and beyond." Now, Andy didn't know where this was, but it sounded jolly exciting. And he hoped to find out in the very near future. And Buzz could take Andy on new adventures, to new beginnings. So what about poor Woody? He'd always been there for Andy, through thick and thin. But Andy now had new desires, new wants. He wanted to new expeditions and new adventures to take himself onto. In fairness, Woody hadn't looked after himself. He was the same old Woody. The same old adventures, the same old stories. He'd just become a routine in Andy's life. Whereas Andy was off with his new pal, his new partner, the dynamic duo, off to new galaxies, off to space, and obviously off to infinity and beyond. There was nothing that Buzz couldn't do. He could take Andy and his imagination wherever they wanted to go. Meanwhile, poor Woody was left with all the other toys in the playroom. And they sat and worried that as Andy was getting older, what would happen to them? Would they become redundant? Would they be disregarded, packed off in cardboard boxes, sent to the charity shop, or worse still, to the dump? The truth is, Woody hadn't future-proofed himself. He hadn't seen this coming. His skills, his abilities, the way he communicated, the way he thought and worked, they hadn't kept up with the times. He was no longer of value to Andy. So the serious part of my conversation with you today is to think about, what are we doing to future-proof ourselves? We're all going to have to, doesn't matter what our age, we're all going to have to stay in the working world for longer and longer. Do we have the right skills? There's more competition for work. Obviously, we're going to spend more time, perhaps in care homes, drinking cups of tea out of a straw, heaven forbid. But how are we going to pay for it all? What are we doing to still be of great value to our customers, be a really good return on investment? Do we still continue to add value? Can we motivate and inspire, come up with new ideas? Do companies still want to surround them? So come on, let's all be Buzz. New beginnings. Let's take our clients on new adventures, naturally off to infinity and beyond. Let's get out there and future-proof ourselves. New skills, new ways of working. Because after all, if you don't look after yourself, who's going to do it for you? Now, we don't want to end up like poor Andy, do we? So please, At the end of today, just spend a few minutes of reflection and think about, from this another wonderful event, what have I taken away from today to future-proof myself? Have fun and enjoy the journey.